I think that the reason that people are afraid to change their old habits is because they're afraid that they're not going to be able to have fun anymore. You may think to yourself, well, what's the point? Sobriety is so far away. But everything that I've ever known and everything that I've been doing, all my friends and associations, the bar that I like to go to, the place I like to go to for dinner, and being drunk is just, that's just a day ago. Our hair is a mess, but we're gonna go anyway. All right, welcome back to Getting Sober, Again, my name is Jay, and today we are going to talk about changing our habits. And if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing to this channel and giving it a thumbs up at some point. You might as well just do it now. And also, too, leave a comment below. You can either comment something I talked about, or a good point that you might want to bring up, or something that I maybe forgot to mention, or you can just comment on other people's comments. It's really helpful in assisting YouTube to show these videos to the rest of the world. You could be responsible for that, so thank you. And as our viewership continues to increase nationwide and worldwide, we've got some folks out in Australia, New Zealand, Germany, and Pittsburgh. So make sure that you're commenting below, and at least maybe that's a prompt for you. Tell me where you're from, comment below. How about that? So today's the day after St. Paddy's Day, but you know, if you're watching this video at some other, maybe you're watching this the day after Groundhog's Day, it's still going to be information that applies to you, especially if you're watching this video about changing your old habits and your bad habits, right? So today is the day after St. Paddy's Day, and if you woke up hungover, raise your hand. Not me. I didn't. Last year I might have. I probably did, because some of you may know or may remember that I fell off the wagon, so to speak. And also this time, you know, let's think back for a second. This time last year, the day after St. Paddy's Day last year, was when things really started taking off with COVID, and things started getting shut down. Venues that I used to go to started shutting down, social distancing, wear a mask, all that stuff. And it was actually, now that I think of it, today, it was at around this time, the 17th or 18th of March last year, roughly somewhere around that time frame, maybe the 20th of March, when I got sick. And I don't know that I had COVID, but my symptoms were, I started off with a little bit of nasal congestion in my left nostril area, my left nasal cavity. And then, so I woke up, and that wasn't a new feeling for me. I felt that before. It just felt like a sinus infection. And then it went, you know, spread to the throat. And then, so it went from the nasal cavity to the throat, and then it was a sore throat. It was a sore throat and a sort of like a sore nasal cavity type of thing. And so I woke up like that, and then also like my shin, like oddly enough, my shins were kind of aching. And then it radiated from my shins in the morning to my thighs by noon. And then by dinner time that night, my entire body ached. And I was hovering around 100-degree fever. So not only did I, but my fiance at the time, my ex-fiance, who I was redating again at the time, we were redating ... again. But she got sick, and her two sons got sick, who are 11 and 12 years old. They were 10 and 11 then. And my mom got sick. We all got sick with basically the same thing: nasal, throat, body aches, some fever, chills. Next day we were good. And you know, we all of us pride ourselves on taking adequate vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and supplements. And a lot of those, in case you forgot or missed or whatever, I keep from now on in the down below in the show more, the more information. I always forget what it's called. If you click down below, it says show more, or whatever it says, and it brings up all the different links. I have all the different links of all the supplements that I take for whatever reasons. Some of it may apply to you, some may not, you know, results may vary, and always consult your physician before taking anything, right? But so we always pride ourselves on trying to get adequate rest and hydration, food. All those things are important anyway, especially if you're binge drinking, right? And then taking proper supplementation, because one of the things that happens, especially if you're drinking, is that alcohol will start to deplete your body of precious vitamins, minerals, and nutrients, a lot of which your organs need to do the job that they need to do. And this is all one big, beautiful ecosystem that is fully capable of healing, but not fully capable of healing without the proper nutrients, right? So this time last year I got sick, and I probably went out and drank for St. Patty's Day. I really don't remember, but isn't that what always happens? We don't remember. I was like, I had a great time. Like, what did you do last night? I don't know. I had a great time. I don't remember though. Old habits versus new habits, better decisions versus worse decisions. That's what we're going to talk about today. So thinking back about, last year, if we go, I'll rewind it a little bit further. So I always talk about making better decisions instead of worse decisions, because I don't like saying good decisions versus bad decisions, right? It's all kind of perspective, what somebody, it's funny, I was listening to a Joe Rogan podcast earlier today, and his guest was former CIA agent Mike Baker. And Mike Baker now, who's retired, was talking about being in being in the cannabis industry now. And it's like, how many people did you contribute to, having been locked up or put away because those were just the rules at the time, right? Now he's getting, investing his, and I'm not judging. It's just things like that I don't like. Contradictory laws and rules I really am not a big fan of. And especially, a lot of people that are incarcerated in this country versus being treated in this country is a whole nother topic and dialogue. And maybe if you're interested in that topic, maybe comment below. Incarceration versus treatment. And I think that that's a really big topic, especially here in this country, especially where in other countries it's showing to be beneficial to a lot of people to have the options and the availability to get treatment over being thrown in jail. Being thrown in jail doesn't really rehabilitate you, and that's supposed to be the point. From what I heard, and maybe what I also experienced, jail is basically just crime school. It's like everybody's just talking about what they did and what not to do next time, and what parole officer you might want, or what judge you definitely don't want to get in front of, or what lawyer they use and how much it was. It's just, like I said, it's crime school. And, that's not the case for everybody, but for a lot of people it happens to be, right? So let's talk a little bit more about the topic here. So, making better decisions instead of worse decisions. I don't like saying bad versus good. So I was talking about Mike Baker and all that stuff. But, making better decisions instead of worse decisions, rewinding back to when I started this channel in November of 2018. If you watched any of those old in color videos, comment below. I'm kind of like, I watched some of those and I'm just kind of like, maybe I should take those down. But I don't know, some people still find value in them, and some of them are kind of taking off, but I just know I really wasn't taking it seriously. It looks different, it sounds different. I felt different, I was different, and I feel very humbled, and I feel very grateful and happy that, at this point in my life, I've been able to mature and be a better version of myself. For not only for me, but for my mom, for my extended family, for maybe a future partner, and for you guys, and also for like my real life friends and family, and for my channel friends and family. And of course, as always, besides commenting below, I know some of you are always, some of you go through some hard times. We all have, and I'm not saying that I'll have the best advice or any advice, but you're always welcome to email me at gettingsoberagain@gmail.com. And that is another instance of, in my life, trying to make better decisions instead of worse decisions. Also too, what I started to do with, during COVID, I was able to, I made a decision that, one of the things I was going to do with the money saved, which again, I always talk about the Quitzilla app. And with the Quitzilla app, it also shows how many days, hours, and minutes you've been sober or abstinent from whatever you're being abstinent from. It has different categories: alcohol, drugs, prescription pills, weed, pornography, sugar, whatever. It's really helpful, and it also tracks your money too. I like that part. So it shows me, how much money I've saved. And one of the things I opted to do with that money is I've been donating my money to, not all of them, I've been donating portions of my money to friends that have been in need, people that need, that have medical bills, things like that. Here in Cleveland, we have the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, and in our municipal lot, AKA the Muni lot, if you're familiar with the Cleveland Browns, that's where everybody tailgates for Browns games, in the municipal lot downtown in the Muni lot. But since COVID started, the Muni lot has been open to the National Guard and a lot of folks who have been waiting in line to get food assistance from the Greater Cleveland Food Bank. So one of the things that I've done with my money is I contribute some of my money to the Greater Cleveland Food Bank, and that is a reoccurring monthly donation. So when I talk about if you want to be a patron to this channel, some of the things that your money will go to is to the decisions I make to help other people and paying it forward. And speaking of which, some of you, are always asking, and God bless you. Thank you for donations, by the way. If anybody in the meantime wants to make donations to this channel, you can do it at Venmo, and my user handle is Getting Sober Again. But in the future, in the very near future, I am going to finally start my Patreon page. And what you'll be able to do with Patreon is you'll be able to subscribe monthly, just like I do with the food bank. You'll be able to send this channel, say, $5 or $10 or $15 or whatever. I'm imagining you'll be able to select whatever amount that you're able to afford. Some of you can afford $100 a month. Some of you can afford $5 a month, and whatever you can afford, that'd be awesome. But it'll help this channel keep going because, of course, I want to be able to keep doing this. And one of the things that I'm worried about with COVID coming up, or hopefully with the end of COVID coming up, is picking up more hours, doing more work outside of this, and not having the availability to do this as full time as I've been doing. So I try to shoot for at least 3 episodes a week on this channel. I've been doing as many as 6 episodes a week, but then that also includes me being readily available to answer emails to you and respond to your comments and all the good stuff. So in the very near future, my goal is to have that up and running by the time I hit 1,000 subscribers, which at this rate, we're averaging over 10 subscribers a day now, which is amazing. I really wanted to swear right there and say it's effing amazing, but it is. It is bleeping amazing that this community is building that fast. I never really thought I didn't think it was possible. You try so many things in life. See if you comment below if you relate to this. You try so many things in life that you just kind of stop believing that anything's really possible. That you stop even believing that your sobriety is possible, or that meeting somebody else, getting into another loving relationship is possible, or losing weight is possible, or going back to school is possible, or getting a quality night's rest is possible, or lowering your blood pressure. We start to just give up on things and just end up, cohabitating and existing and paying bills. And that's not a healthy existence. And I think that that's what leads a lot of us to making worse decisions instead of better decisions, and which is the topic of today's episode. So sorry that opening monologue took so long. We're at 12 minutes on the opening monologue. But I don't know if you noticed, up in the top left-hand corner, I put when announcements and things are gonna end. But I feel like they're all kind of relevant, and especially if you're a supporter of this channel, you get to hear me talk about how this channel is growing and how you're helping with that and staying informed on what's going on, where people are following from around the world, and all that good stuff. So I thank you for being patient. And I thank you for keeping me company. I thank you for all your comments. I thank you for all your emails. And I'm literally not going to stop saying any of this every episode, because one of the things about our sobriety that's really important is repetition. Repetition is very, 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 very important. Having a routine is very, very, very important. Everybody's different. Some people are going to be gung-ho and they're just going to go cold turkey and just see what happens, right? And some people are gonna read some books and they're gonna talk to their doctor first and gonna plan it out. And everybody has a different method. But the one thing, in my very strong opinion, is that repetition is important. And when it comes to making better decisions versus worse decisions, we have to find a balance that works for us and force ourselves into a new routine. Because by nature, most of us really don't like change. Once you get that pair of shoes, whenever you have to replace a pair of shoes, or have to get a new hat, or have to get I got a hole in my coat, I gotta get a new coat. We don't want to have to change unless we have to, right? When it comes to just changing our diet, or having to take new medication, or have to get a new thing, I gotta read the manual. Nobody likes to have to do that. We just want to kind of coast and reap the most benefits from the work that we've already done, right? But moving forward, we have to think about what kind of seeds are we planting currently, and what are we gonna reap? We're gonna reap what we sow. And if we're sowing seeds of alcoholism, we're gonna bear the fruit of alcoholism. We're gonna bear the fruit of the company of alcoholics, from other addicts, from people in the same positions in the same places, that may, if we're not strong enough, if we're not nourished enough with the proper vitamins, minerals, nutrients, and keeping ourselves strong and healthy, and having a long enough timeline between trying to go back to, say, your bar, which I wasn't comfortable, like I play pool, like I wasn't genuinely comfortable going back until like I hit like month 4. I've been going back regularly, but like now I'm seeing all these people. Like I went out last night on St. Patty's Day briefly. It was amateur hour, and I went and played a couple of games, but I saw a bunch of people that, I've noticed that people are more kind now after COVID. People are more compassionate now, and I love that. People like dudes walking up to me and saying, I love you, man, I miss you. And me saying, you know what, I love you and I miss you. And if that's the trajectory of the world, I'll take it. And that's something that I want to happen in my lifetime. And that's people making better decisions instead of worse decisions. That's people not being as stressed out by their immediate environments. And that's people allowing themselves to be vulnerable and say the things that they want to say, and being able to experience the emotions that they want to experience, and smiling more, and with that, that's going to help us make better decisions, right? And so moving forward, when I wanted to talk about when I started this channel and before I disappeared off from my bender. And so after I started this channel on November 8th, 2018, I ended up going off on a cross-country bender. I'll put a link up here to that whole story. It's a very long episode, and this episode is shaping up, it's already 16 minutes, shaping up to be pretty long. But on that cross-country road trip, I went from Los Angeles in a 30-foot RV to Cleveland, Ohio, and then from Cleveland, Ohio down to Miami. And this whole period of time was like months long. I think like 2 or 3 or 4 months long or something like that. I think it was 2.5 months long. And in that I lost my sobriety. And, I definitely regret that, because it's like, if I think about, the decisions that I made to change my lifestyle, the decisions that I made to even start this channel in the first place, at that point in November 2018, that's when I was done. And that's when I was working in the service industry still. I was still working at a bar restaurant. I still had access to alcohol. I still had access to drugs. I still had access to lots of temptations. And it wasn't the healthiest environment. I decided to be sober then. I knew it was time. And I knew that it was time well before that, but I decided this is gonna be it. This is gonna be enough is enough. I was also on antidepressants at that time. And so the combination of being on antidepressants, drinking, and carrying on, doing whatever else, I just went cold turkey. Ironically, on the day after Thanksgiving, the day that you would eat cold turkey, I decided to go cold turkey. And had I not done that, I wouldn't be on this journey. And had I not, if I weren't on this journey, if I want to be hard on myself, which yesterday's episode, are you being too hard on yourself? If I think about failing, falling short of my goal of being sober, which happened in January of 2019. So just a couple months later, 3 months after I decided to get sober, I basically was definitely not sober. But if I'm hard on myself, I think back like, well, all the people I could have helped, and this channel would be, I'd be over, I'd be monetized by now, and who knows, how good my life would be or whatever. It's like, stop. I can't change the past. I'm not going to sit there and dwell on the past. I can't change that. The only thing I can do is really just do the best that I can do today, right? And when I can snap my mind out, when I was finally able to snap my mind out of that mentality, that defeatist attitude, I was able to make better decisions more consistently. And now, because I've come back to this channel and I'm making episodes much better and much more often, more frequent than I was in the first place, I used that launching pad in the beginning to figure out what to do with the channel, what not to do, how to talk about how to make this channel grow. I'm in a much better place now than I was then. And, thinking back about like where my life was at that point, so like here was basically what my routine was. I would wake up most likely hungover back then before I decided to get sober. I would wake up most likely hungover, dehydrated. I would have to drink like 24 ounces of water, 12 to 24 ounces of water just to try, because I woke up in the desert, figuratively speaking. I was parched. My mouth was dry as a bone. And then I'd have to start, that's how I would have to start my day, dehydrated. Dehydration's not good, right? You're gonna have a headache, you're gonna have brain fog, you're gonna be just overall, you're going to be fatigued. You're starting your day off at a deficit, just trying to get to whatever you think normal is. And I was starting off my day not normal. I was starting off my day below par, right? And because of that, I thought like, my life wasn't very good and I wasn't where I wanted to be in life. And because I wasn't starting my day with my best foot forward, I thought like, well, I'm depressed. And so I'm consistently depressed. So I think I should get therapy. And going to therapy had its benefits, but then it ended up with me then having to go on antidepressants, right? So I'm waking up dehydrated, still taking antidepressants, still drinking. And then I would get off, there were kids involved then, 2 stepkids, and I would wake up in the morning to help get them ready for school, pack lunches, get them off, say good morning, eat breakfast with them, and show up looking like a responsible adult. And then as soon as we get them off to school, I would go straight back to bed and then stay back in bed until like 10:30, maybe 11, wake up, then have like a real breakfast, and then go to the gym, come home, shower, then get ready for work, and then start and then be at work, then maybe drink afterwards, and then go through that whole cycle back over again. And so that, like there wasn't really space. There wasn't space in my schedule. I didn't have the time and availability to do things like this. I wasn't taking life seriously, and I was stuck in a loop, drinking, being dehydrated, drinking, being dehydrated, and whatever else happened in the middle of the day, which would just be gym and going to work and hanging out, sitting in front of the TV, because it was just kind of like, well, what's the point? I don't have my shit together, so I might as well just sit down in front of the TV and just space out and not have to use any mental energy. And I'm tired anyway, so I don't have any physical energy to waste, right? And so with making better decisions, I decided to put my foot down and stop all of the negative momentum. And I understand that it's really hard for a lot of people to just start to get to get through day 1, to get to day 2, to get to day 3. I know that it's hard because you're so close. Like I'm willing to bet, comment below. If you're still watching, comment below. But comment below if you've had the thought that going into day 2, you may think to yourself, well, what's the point? Sobriety is so far away. But everything that I've ever known and everything that I've been doing, all my friends and associations, the bar that I like to go to, the place I like to go to for dinner, and being drunk is that's just a day. That was just a day ago. So what do you want me to do? Be sober for a month? That's like yesterday already seems like forever ago, and that was just a day ago. Like I can't, and then you start getting into this negative loop, this negative mental loop, right? So it's not just a physical loop. It's not just a time loop. It's not just a physical loop, but it's a mental and emotional loop. And those things start to weigh us down. Those things start to keep us from having the success that we need to have. But when you're able to break that, when you're able to break all this negative momentum and sit down and start to make a schedule. How are you going to start your day? It was hard for me too. It's still hard for me some days. And I wake up, I literally planned out I wrote down my schedule. I have the Google Task app, and I have my to-do list for the day. And then I look at it. I have them all sorted out. What do I do as soon as I wake up? I drink water. And right after that, I make the bed. You say, like, really put that on your to-do list? Yeah, because I'm starting to check off positive momentum. It's all about keeping your positive momentum moving forward. And as I continue to build the positive momentum moving forward, I know that that's me in the past, and that past version of me made better decisions for future me, which happens to be me currently. And now, moving forward, after having breakfast and going to the gym, which trust that I did not want to go to the gym today. It was raining today and there was hardly anybody else at the gym. So I know that I wasn't the only one feeling that way. It was a dreary, dark, gray, wet day, but I knew like I had to go, because if I don't go to the gym, I'm not going to feel better. I'm not going to come home full of energy and go in the shower and talk to myself like a crazy person about what episode I want to make today. And I won't be putting my best foot forward. I won't be building that positive momentum, right? So we start to make the better decisions instead of worse decisions. We start to change the old habits, and we start just even simple things like changing our route home from work so that we don't go past the strip of bars and restaurants that we know that our friends are going to be at, or our coworkers at, or where we have some of our best or fond memories. I'm not saying you have to take that route forever, but 21 days might be a good rule, because they say that it takes 21 days to build a habit, to create a habit. And we do things like just changing our environment, changing where we sit after dinner. Where do we sit for dinner? Things like taking the alcohol out of our house. You say like, what? That was a good bottle of vodka. Get it out of the house. What are you doing? Why would you keep that? Why would you keep a reminder in the house of your favorite alcohol and all the good times and you think when you come home, like there's still some times when I come home and I'm like, or like sometimes after a workout, I wanted to have a drink or a cigarette. Or after a good meal, sometimes I might want to have a drink or a cigarette or whatever. There's definitely triggers, and sometimes every now and then it'll still pop in my head, even though I'm getting close to 5 months sober now. It'll still pop in my head like, why don't you reward yourself? Go grab a burger and have a beer. It's like, we don't do that anymore. We don't do that. And then I'm done with the thought. I've told myself we don't do that anymore, and I don't act on it. May it's still sitting there for a little while, and it may like rattle around. It's like, but you could just have, we could just have one, and what do we tell? We put like an asterisk next to it, and we still call ourselves 5 months sober. Like, I'm not doing that. My sobriety is my choice, just like it's your choice. And I'm deciding to make better habits and choose better habits and make better decisions instead of worse decisions, so that not only can I be available for myself, but I can be available for you and hope to be a positive influence on you and for you, so that you can also make better decisions instead of worse decisions, so that you can start to figure out while you're sober what things are stressing you out. Is it your work? Is it the apartment building you live in? Is it the neighborhood you live in? Is it the city, the state that you live in? Is it the country you live in? What is it? What are all these triggers? Do you have just a stressful ass ride home where people are just cutting you off in traffic and really making your blood boil, and then you're laying on the horn, and then it's how do you feel like it's out of control and the anger, and then you turn into the Hulk, and I just need a drink. I just need a drink because it's the only thing that I know that's gonna calm me down and make me feel better. But you know what also calm you down and make you feel better? Just writing it out will also just calm you down and it'll make you feel better. And also with that, you won't have the guilt of having made a worse decision that will then make you feel depressed and make you want to remedy and medicate again with more alcohol, which then will lead to waking up tomorrow feeling guilty again, and then feeling depressed and feeling anxiety, and back in the loop you go, and back in the loop you go, and back in the loop you go. And I want to get you out of that loop. And I wanted to be out of that loop, and I'm out of that loop, and I'm very thankful for it. I thank God for it every day, and showing my gratitude to not only God, but to you for supporting this channel. So with that, I'm going to end today's episode, and good luck on your journey. Make sure to comment below at some point, and if you want to, you can always email me at gettingsoberagain@gmail.com. And if you want to make a donation to this channel, you can hop onto Venmo and donate to Getting Sober Again. And I will see you in the next video.